this car?
We originally were looking at pieces of fabric with embroidered flowers on them, and we were looking at how we could perhaps translate that into the car's interior. During our research, we were looking into Japanese gardens, initially looking at the blossom trees, but then the whole atmosphere that they create around you. So looking at the serene, tranquil colours and the way that blossom is surrounding you in the garden. So we took that into illustrations. So my colleague Cherica took some inspiration to hand paint some of the flowers.
Yes, so based on the brief and the ideas that we went through with our lead designers, we just kind of thought how best can we translate the whole idea of Serenity into the car. So initially we wanted it to be something that it's an aristocracy. We wanted it to be like opulent, but we also wanted it to be Rolls-Royce as well, which is all those things. So I started painting by hand the flowers and the blossoms, and with Michelle's guidance, like, oh, that's a bit much, maybe a little less. You know, it was really a team project the whole way, and we just thought from that aspect we take that into another area where we create the whole headliner. So it was really wanting to introduce luxurious fabrics into Rolls-Royce, because in the 1900s they had it that way, and we just thought it's something beautiful. It was done beautiful. We're going to take it to another level and just try to get the best out of it.
And also, whilst Cherica was painting the flowers, that gave us another avenue to look into Japanese painting. Yeah. So unconscious painting being a key theme within the car. It's something that in Japan the artists actually meditate before they paint. So all the lines within the painting is very fluid and very flowing and very naturally painted. So that's something that we wanted to translate into the headliner.
Yeah.
Yeah, the colour itself is a very calming colour. It's known throughout interior design. If you paint your walls a very kind of relaxing pastel colour, that is a calming effect. So exactly. It's perfect for the car's interior for this Serenity car.
It's very different from what you've done before.
We had a few challenges to come across. We worked closely with the leather shop. They usually use leather within their everyday production, so we had to really work closely to adapt some of the methods of production to fit the car's interior. For example, the silk had to have different lining on the back of it so that it reacted differently in the interior. Yes. They could stitch into it more finely than if they'd used the plain silk itself.
Yeah, so what we, Michelle and I originally did, we designed it and then we were like, okay, the pattern, but which was quite different for fabric than it is leather. So we went to the leather shop, asked them for their pattern, get that into our design schemes, and then input each petal the way we wanted it to look. So it's, as you were saying, it's asymmetric. Everything is not left to chance. We basically had 2 or 3 iterations of where exactly the patterns will go and which would be painted, which would be embroidered. So it's not an easy job. It's a challenging job, but worth it. Well, some of the features inside the car are the hand painting, and as Michelle was saying, it's unconscious hand painting, but we wanted it unconscious but not too unconscious. So we want a bit of detail, so when somebody that's not from that background or doesn't know that background has the car, they will appreciate it because they see that it's detailed, but they also see that it's left to a quite soft, flowing attitude in the car. So we've got that aspect. We've got the wood aspect, which is beautiful, smoked cherry, and with mother of pearl inlay with nice little branches, mixture of wood. It's really quite beautiful.
Yeah, everything about this car is craftsmanship. So we've sourced the finest materials. The silk is hand dyed. So again, that's kind of the craft behind literally hand picking the colors and hand dyeing each piece. So it's literally a labor of love. And I think it's very bespoke in terms of taking that to the next level, so using silks and using materials in a way that wouldn't necessarily always be used in that way.
Yes, we just wanted to approach it as Rolls-Royce normally does. We wanted super luxury. And yes, it's not all car companies would do that. It's just us that will focus on the point that we're trying to get across, that, you know, dream a dream and be able to come true. So, I mean, the headliner being like an expanse of beauty, of craftsmanship, of detail, of hand-picking each blossom, which one's going to be painted, which one's, how they're embroidered as well. So we wanted it to be quite rich in detail. So from dark to light, it was really just amazing, because we do that in colleges and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm actually able to do that now. It's really quite beautiful for us and a great project to work on.
In particular, mentioning on the embroidery, the fact that it's hand embroidered and each thread, I mean, it's beautiful to look at. It's just so detailed, and the way that the light catches on the silk is just mind-blowing how it can be done.
And it's the finest silk, so you can imagine, like a hair. It's really fine and it's a long filament, and that's how they, you know, produce it. That's the best that they use.
And I guess from our point of view, we wanted to use the car's interior as a kind of a piece of art in itself. So the headliner itself is like a canvas, and we could create something beautiful on that expanse of space within the interior. And the way that it draws your eye line into the interior as well, I think just surrounds you and encapsulates you.
And the freedom of having a director that kind of supports that. It's like, oh yeah, that's brilliant. You know, it's just, it really is quite nice to have that effect, have that kind of ownership towards it, where we could say, oh yes, we actually worked on that very closely, and it was really an amazing thing to have come true, really.